let's get into this. So far, good evening. Nothing has yet happened. So far, nothing has yet happened. Just 1 second here, I gotta fix a couple things. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, so nothing's really happened yet. We got into the fortress. We have landed in our spot. And that is all. So today we're going to try to get some workplaces set up. So this is our fort here. This area here that you can see, that's going to be the farms, and down here is going to be the main entrance. So, yeah. Just stick with me for a second here. I'm still trying to learn how this goes. Yeah, I thought I had everything set up properly. Turns out I don't. So your patience is greatly appreciated. But yeah, what I'm thinking about doing right now is getting at least the wood production up, because wood's really important. You obviously, it's the only way to make beds, and you want your dwarves to sleep or else you're gonna go crazy. And the other thing is, you also want them to be able to make some ash. That's very important. And with the ash we can do a lot of stuff with soap. That's the big thing. Soap. Everybody thinks soap isn't as good, but soap is important. I want my dwarves to be clean. Okay, so what I want to do is, well, first thing we're going to do, because we're into the getting the wood done, I'm going to head down here to our base level, and we are going to chop down trees. And I'm just going to go for a big bloody area. I don't much mind upsetting the elves. That's going to happen no matter what, really. It's just going to be one of those things, you know. Elves are just going to get upset at me. There's a couple trees on this cliff. And that's fine. I don't know if I got that one or not. Oh, two here. Just going to cut down every tree. Make sure that our woodcutter dwarf is very occupied for the first year or so. Okay, that should be good for now. So, what I want now is stockpile of wood, which is W. That took me way too long. And I'm going to put that here. This is all temporary. That's probably way too small. Or it's not probably. Well, I don't want it to be that big. And now I want to build a workspace. And we are going with a carpenter's. Right, we actually need to get stuff. So I'm going to unpause. Should I unpause? What do we have? 2 miners, a woodworker, a mason, a farmer, an expedition leader. Yeah. So we're going to designate, and we are going to toggle standard and marking, and we're going to get them to start mining this. Whoops. Keyword toggle. There we go. Yeah, we're missing a room. Okay, the game is on. Time is now going. The miners will start mining. There you go, dig, dig, fell tree. Nobody else really has anything to do because there's really nothing else to do. Is that a bee? It's a fluffy warbler. Could be worse. I don't even know if bees show up anymore. I thought they did. But they don't, and that's okay. So the mining has begun, and we already have 4 pieces of wood, because I think, yep, as soon as they cut a tree, those 4 who are not doing anything are going to start putting things in. Okay, so now let's continue to plan. So if that's our tavern, and that's our farmland. Do I need more for farms? See, this is the thing. Sitting down and figuring out exactly how much food a dwarf needs. And I wrote it down. I think it's like... So 1 dwarf requires 8 food a year and 20 drink. So that's a lot. So with the dwarves that I have right now, I require 56 food. It's not fun. I'm watching them. Look, we got gems now. Oh, something's already dead? What's this? Is that the fluffy warbler? Yep. Yep. My guess? It was the cat. That's my guess. Yeah. So they're going to keep going. So what do I need? The wood is going... Okay, so I can actually make the place out of wood now, because we actually have wood and we have... Okay, so let's do workshop and woodworkers, carpenter shop. So we'll place that there. I'm actually going to make it out of chert. That'll give them something to do. I don't think there's anything here. 2 eagles. And those miners are going to get pretty good at mining. Pretty good. Pretty quick. Which is going to be good for Graham, our miner, Graham. He's going to become a very good spear dwarf. So they're gonna go. They're gonna go now and do their thing. Keep going. So we got this place going. I think the next thing we're gonna do is build. I mean, I know my focus was, whoops, my focus was building a everything to do with the wood, get the wood processing going, but I think I'm gonna get a mason's workshop. Man, so slow at this. We'll put the mason's workshop like right here. Yeah, that's a decent place for it. And I'll make that with chert as well. And then we'll get a stockpile of... Well, this is just going to be a plain stockpile of stone. Trust me, that's going to be one hell of a mess if I do that in the future. We'll do that, and they're going... Oh, we have a viewer here. Hi, Kamen. Am I going to get DF Steam? Most likely. I would say that there is an incredibly high chance of getting a Steam Dwarf Fortress. Mostly just to support Zach and Tarn. I mean, I've been playing Dwarf Fortress now for what's probably close to 20 years, if not 20 years. So yeah, I want to support them. I don't know how I feel about the graphics. I mean, if there's the pixies, they're going to be fun. I don't know how I feel about the graphics. I mean, I'm using DF Hack, but still, it's all ASCII for me. But I'll probably play it, and I'll probably do. Kamen, yeah, you're right. UI. Don't feel bad. The UI. Sorry, that's my cat. The UI on Dwarf Fortress is atrocious. A lot of things about Dwarf Fortress is atrocious, but still, don't ever feel bad about that. Dwarf Fortress is a hard game. Hard to get into. I would say even with just what I'm capable of doing and capable of playing, it's still... Oh, I don't even know how they're gonna make the EI, to be honest, or the UI. Sorry. It takes me forever to find something. I mean, if you were here about 10 minutes ago, just making the masonry shop or the masonry workplace and the carpenters here, it took me a good 30 seconds to find what they were. So, yeah, it's going to take a while. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm curious to see. And knowing me, I'll probably just end up playing this. Oh, Cayman, you're not going to be let down. Dwarf Fortress is... I would say it's probably one of the best games I've ever played, simply because of the stories that come out of it. And I mean, that's why I wanted to get into streaming it, was just to share the stories. So what I usually do is, or what I've done in the past, is on Facebook, I would just have like a little Facebook group with a couple of my friends, and then play, get them to name some dwarves, and I would update regularly what's going on. And I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that. So like you can see, they got their chosen names there, and they're still getting updates and everything. But then the stories that we get out of it were great. A couple of us used some of the dwarves and their stories as background for some stories in a D&D campaign. One of my friends played one of the children who ended up going mad, as they sometimes do when their parents die, and all sorts of sad things. This one child ended up ruining the entire fort, like killing people and everything. It was a mess, but it was hilarious. So yeah, his character left and sort of got back into having like their mind back, and was still kind of unstable because they were completely mad, like irreversibly mad. So there was nothing I could do except try not to kill them. I don't like to kill them. I'm one of those people that where people are saying like, oh, you know, kill the nobles because they're useless. I don't. They add to the story. So yeah, that's what makes Dwarf Fortress really cool for me, and why I enjoy it so much. Just because of the stuff that it could do. Yeah. It's not so much like the story comes by itself. I mean, yes, I could sit in there and read every, like if I were to go into here and go into, let's say, Dion, and get into his thoughts and relationships. I mean, I could read this, and doing this for 7 dwarves is a lot, but then doing this to 100 dwarves is insane. Why anybody would want to do that. But you just take the little bits that you see in here and make the story yourself. So looking at this, I can just look at you know, what he looks like, and if that becomes important, then we can talk about that. But a lot of this stuff isn't what makes the game. It's the stuff that ends up happening with them. So if I were to look again, view this unit and go into the relationships and see, right, that they're getting on pretty well with these two dwarves, and then what ends up coming with that. That's the cool stories. So it's not so much the story that you end up having to read. I've never played, like I must have had like 15 different forts or more, and I've never played one where I've actually read the legends that exist, or like the big lore that comes into it, even though I'm big on lore. I don't read it as much as you would think, considering how much I talk about it. But it's the stories that come out of it. So you have like a story about somebody going off and doing something and getting attacked, and then like 3 in-game days later they go outside and get attacked again, and it just becomes a big joke that it's like, oh, whenever so-and-so goes out they get attacked, or something like that. So that's the enjoyable part. So I'm going to make some blocks, and the reason why I'm making some blocks is because I know I'm going to be making an ashery. I think it's called an ashery soon. So the story, like this game, is what you make of it. That's the really cool part. It really is what you make of it. So if you want it to be all about the story, you can read everything and like try to get everything that every dwarf likes. Like if you were to go into, let's go to JJ for now, and view him and go into his thoughts and preferences, you can see exactly what he wants. Like he likes petrified wood and ley pewter, green tourmaline, bleak dog leather. Like I could spend time trying to get that stuff and making sure that he goes in there. Easier way to digest the info. I'm sorry, I'm laughing just because Dwarf Fortress is like all about info, and it is overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, it is overwhelming. And I've been overwhelmed by it too. Just the massive amount of stuff that happens and stuff that you can get. I mean, if I look into the announcements right now, there's nothing. And if I look into what's the other one that I can get, like reports, there's nothing here. But I've literally been playing for, I think I've only unpaused the game about 15 minutes ago. So the stuff has only been happening in this fortress for about 15 minutes. Nobody is an expert in Dwarf Fortress. So you consider yourself a noob. There are things that I am a noob. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, Cayman. It's not... this is like trying to learn astrophysics in your free time. There'll be some aspects of it that you grasp and can teach and can talk about, and then there's going to be other aspects that you're not going to have any idea what it is. Like, I can do farming. Farming is a strength for me in this. My friend, JJ, no farming. He imports all of his food because he can't wrap his head around the farming mechanics. I have no problem with it. Minecarts and tracks, I can't do it. But other people can. It's just what you know and what you're good at and what you can learn. One of the more recent things I picked up was the military, which is kind of neat to be able to get the military going and everything set up with that, and getting what was the other thing the most recent, when they when they introduced oh man, what was it, libraries and taverns and stuff. Oh man, that was something, having to learn that. But you just take it one step at a time. pick something and learn. You're going to fail. I mean, that's the big line that they make about Dwarf Fortress is losing is fun, because you're going to lose. That's what I had to learn about the military, was actually getting them into uniforms. So I mean, stick around, because there's going to be a military. Did they change it so that I can actually... No. See, this is neat. You can actually change it so that you're selecting a particular material, which is something that I've always been interested in. So that's good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll make 7 beds for now. That'll keep Anthony busy. Yeah, you never used to be able to choose what good to build something out of, so it would always end up being like you'd have to set up next to what you wanted to build and hope something got built from that material. So if you wanted like fancy colored chests and doors and stuff, you'd actually have to just set up next to one of them and hope that they wouldn't be this crappy brown color shirt. I don't know what it is. I'm not a geologist. And if I wanted to use like these gems, so the gems you could actually pick, limonite. I think limonite's one that I can use to do something out of, like an ore or something. Okay, so I'm just going to pause here, because beds are being made, right? Yeah, lots of beds are being made. The blocks have been made. So now I can build the beds and put them in, start putting them in here. Cherrywood bed. That'll be nice for like the visiting people, because it's going to start off as the rooms of the people of the dwarves, but as we start delving deeper, we're going to switch to that being a tavern. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dig how should we do this? I think I'm going to get a stockpile. Here. One of the things that you should learn if you're picking this up, Cayman. I'm sorry. Is stockpile management. That's going to be the big thing, so that you can manage stockpiles. And I mean, the wiki's got lots of information, so it's not like that's where I learned it all. They didn't have streaming when I had it. They barely had YouTube when I started playing. Talk about being old. So now those guys are going to dig out there. So yeah, it's something I don't know if I finished saying it, but if you want to learn how to do the military, keep an eye on here, because when we get into the military stuff, that's what I'll be doing. Definitely getting into doing the military. So I'm going to set this as just a bit of a higher priority, just so I can get some of that food out of the wilderness up there. Not that there is anything. There's just 2 eagles. That shouldn't be too bad. So he's carrying all the chert down and all the ore. Those workplaces are just going to get taken and moved somewhere else eventually. Just like all these beds, probably. let's see. That's like something that kind of gets me about Dwarf Fortress. And it's a good thing, is these veins. See, this is limonite, and there's some gems in there. Chalcedony. Great Chalcedony. That's not the best Chalcedony. Pink tourmaline. And limonite. I can't even remember if limonite's a good thing or not. Does anybody know if limonite's good? Will you hate me if I look it up right now? It's an iron ore. Sweet. Well, that's what Wikipedia says. I don't know if... I don't know if that's actually... But it probably is. They're very good. Of making it, like, pretty realistic. Yeah. Iron ore. That's awesome. So right here on ground level, we're getting iron ore. A lot of iron ore, so we can do a lot of iron stuff. That's going to be awesome. Well, no, that's not going to be awesome. That is awesome. Like, you just can't. I'm sure you could get more awesome than that, but I mean, I'm pretty happy about it.